Picture this. A grieving widow, her world shattered by the loss of her husband, is suddenly thrust into a nightmare beyond imagination. In the blink of an eye, she's stripped of her dignity, her identity, and her very humanity. This, my friends, is the cruel reality of Sutee. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is Sutee? Well, let me tell you, it's a practice so barbaric, so utterly inhumane, that it'll make your blood run cold. Sutee involves the forcible shaving of a widow's head and her subsequent ostracization from society. But oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Imagine, if you will, a woman who's just lost the love of her life. She's drowning in grief, her heart shattered into a million pieces, and then, as if the universe itself has turned against her, she's subjected to this horrific ritual. Her long flowing locks, a symbol of her femininity and beauty, are brutally shorn away. Can you hear the agonizing screams, the desperate pleas for mercy? It's enough to make your skin crawl. But wait, there's more. Oh yes, dear listeners, it gets worse. Much, much worse. You see, once a widow has been subjected to Sutee, she's cast out from her community like a leper. Imagine being treated as if you're less than human, as if your very existence is a curse upon the earth. It's a fate worse than death, a living hell that countless women have endured throughout India's long and turbulent history. Now, you might be thinking, surely this can't be happening in the 21st century. But oh, how wrong you'd be. While Sutee has been officially banned in India since 1829, thanks to the efforts of social reformer Raja Ram Mohan Roy, the practice still persists in some remote areas and conservative communities. It's a dark, insidious custom that refuses to die, clinging to life like a malignant tumor on the body of Indian society. Let's take a moment to delve into the origins of this horrifying practice. Sutee, derived from the Sanskrit word sati, meaning good woman or chaste wife, has its roots in ancient Hindu traditions. But don't be fooled by its seemingly innocuous name. This custom is anything but good or chaste. Historically, Sutee was closely linked to the practice of sati, where widows would immolate themselves on their husband's funeral pyre. Can you imagine the sheer terror of those poor women, forced to burn alive in a twisted display of devotion? While sati has been largely eradicated, its ugly stepsister Sutee continues to rear its hideous head. Now let's paint a vivid picture of what a widow subjected to Sutee might endure. Close your eyes and transport yourself to a small village in rural India. The air is thick with the scent of incense and the sound of wailing mourners. A woman, let's call her Lakshmi, has just lost her husband to a sudden illness. She's barely had time to process her grief when the elders of the village descend upon her like vultures. Lakshmi is dragged from her home, kicking and screaming. Her cries for help fall on deaf ears as she's forced to the ground. The village barber, a man she's known all her life, approaches with a razor in hand. His eyes are cold, devoid of empathy. With brutal efficiency, he begins to shave her head. Lakshmi can feel each strand of hair falling away, taking with it her dignity, her identity, her very sense of self. But the horror doesn't end there. Oh no, dear listeners. This is just the beginning of Lakshmi's nightmare. Once her head is shaved, she's stripped of her colorful sari and forced to don a plain white garment. In Hindu culture, white is the color of mourning, but for Lakshmi, it becomes a symbol of her new status as an outcast. From this moment on, Lakshmi is considered inauspicious. She's forbidden from attending weddings, religious ceremonies, or any joyous occasions. Her very presence is believed to bring bad luck. Can you imagine the isolation, the soul-crushing loneliness? It's enough to drive a person mad. But wait, there's more. In some communities, widows subjected to Sutee are forced to live in separate quarters, away from their families and friends. They're often denied proper nutrition, forced to subsist on bland, meatless diets. It's as if society is slowly trying to erase their existence, to make them fade away into nothingness. Now, you might be wondering, how could such a barbaric practice continue in modern India? Well, my friends, the answer lies in the complex web of social, cultural, and economic factors that shape Indian society. In many rural areas, women are still seen as property, their worth tied to their marital status. When a woman becomes a widow, she's viewed as a burden, a mouth to feed without a man to provide for her. But it's not just about economics. Oh no, there's a sinister superstition at play here. In some communities, widows are believed to be cursed, their husbands' deaths a result of their own bad karma. By subjecting them to Sutee, society believes it's protecting itself from this perceived evil influence. It's a twisted logic that has ruined countless lives. Let's take a moment to consider the psychological impact of Sutee on its victims. Dr. Ranjana Kumari, a renowned sociologist and women's rights activist, describes it as a form of social death. Imagine losing not just your spouse, but your entire identity, your place in society, your very reason for being. The trauma is unimaginable. Studies have shown that widows subjected to Sutee often suffer from severe depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Many contemplate suicide, seeing it as the only escape from their living hell. It's a tragedy of epic proportions, playing out in the shadows of Indian society. But wait, there's a glimmer of hope in this sea of darkness. In recent years, grassroots organizations and NGOs have been working tirelessly to combat the practice of Sutee. One such organization is the Guild of Service, founded by Dr. V. Mohini Giri. This remarkable woman has dedicated her life to empowering widows and fighting against their marginalization. The Guild of Service runs shelter homes for widows in Vrindavan, a holy city known as the City of Widows. Here, women who have been subjected to Sutee can find refuge, support, and a chance at a new life. It's a small step, but a significant one in the fight against this barbaric custom. Now, let's take a moment to consider the legal aspect of Sutee. While the practice itself is not explicitly illegal, it violates several provisions of the Indian Constitution, including Article 14, Equality before law, and Article 21, Protection of life and personal liberty. So why, you might ask, does it continue? The answer, my friends, lies in the gap between law and implementation. In many rural areas, traditional customs hold more sway than modern laws. Village elders and local leaders often turn a blind eye to practices like Sutee, seeing them as part of their cultural heritage. It's a classic case of tradition clashing with progress, with vulnerable women caught in the crossfire. But let's not lose hope. Change is coming, albeit slowly. In 2015, the Supreme Court of India issued guidelines for the welfare of widows, calling for measures to prevent their social ostracization. It's a step in the right direction, but there's still a long way to go. Now, dear listeners, I want you to imagine a different scenario. Picture a world where widows are treated with compassion and respect. A world where a woman's worth isn't determined by her marital status. A world where Sutee is nothing more than a distant, horrifying memory. It's possible, but it'll take a collective effort to make it a reality. As we near the end of our journey into the heart of this dark practice, I want to leave you with a thought. Sutee isn't just a women's issue. It's a human rights issue. It's a stain on the fabric of Indian society, a reminder of the work that still needs to be done to ensure equality and dignity for all. So the next time you hear about Sutee, don't just shake your head in disbelief. Remember the faces of the countless women who have suffered under this cruel custom. Remember Lakshmi and the thousands like her who continue to endure this living nightmare. In the words of Mahatma Gandhi, the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. By that measure, we still have a long way to go. But with awareness, education, and a commitment to change, we can consign practices like Sutee to the dustbin of history. As we wrap up this chilling exploration of Sutee, I want to thank you for joining me on this dark journey. Remember, knowledge is power. By shining a light on these shadowy practices, we take the first step towards eradicating them. Until next time, dear listeners, stay vigilant, stay compassionate, and never stop fighting for what's right. The night may be dark, but dawn is always just around the corner. Good night, and sweet dreams. If you can manage them after this horrifying tale,